Good afternoon. It's March the 6th. It's an afternoon walk, which is a bit unusual. And I'm just going to walk along the creek, which I haven't done for a while. Take in all the fresh snow before it warms up in a couple of days and starts to melt. So while it's all looking at its best, and in fact, there's even a little bit of snow falling right now. Not very much, but a little bit of additional snowflakey action. Oof. Minus 11, which feels very pleasant since it's been minus 20 something in the mornings. I've been doing a ton of publishing stuff today and will continue to do so, but tomorrow I have to go up to Saskatchewan again. Looks like the new car, the new used car that we're buying, is ready, so I'll take the bus up in the morning, is the plan, and buy the car, and then drive it home. So there won't be any walking tomorrow, I'm pretty sure. And tomorrow night I have a rehearsal with First Baptist Church Choir because I'm singing in their Easter concert, which is only 2 weeks from... No, it's a week. It's a week from this coming Sunday, so that'll be over really quick. Easter, of course, is not for 2 weeks after that, but for whatever reason, they're doing their Easter concert 2 weeks before Easter. I think they have an Easter service, but that's different than the concert. Mostly what I've been working on publishing-wise is getting what's called metadata and something called tip sheets for the books I'm planning to publish this fall. So one thing I've really had to adjust to moving into the traditional publishing side of things from being a print-on-demand publisher is the enormous lead times for everything. There's no question I'm selling more books. There's still a big question whether I make enough money to keep going or not. But committed for this year and into the beginning of next year because I've already contracted a couple of books. And we'll see after that. I probably will scale way back on what I publish next year. Because this year, it's something like, I don't know, 18 books. More than one a month on average. And as I keep saying, Shadowpaw Press is just me and the cat, and he is no help whatsoever. Oh, somebody bought this house on the corner. Didn't even know it was for sale. So right now, it seems like the depths of winter, but it is in fact only, as of today, 15 days until spring, official start of spring. And as I've mentioned, cold again tomorrow. Then it goes up to around freezing, and by Sunday it's supposed to be +5, so there's going to be a whole lot of melting going on. And then it stays up just above freezing, not enormously up, like not double digits or anything, but going up to a few degrees above freezing most days and freezing at night. So we'll get hopefully a nice slow melt. The bad side of that is that if I walk in the mornings, I'll have to be very careful of ice. As I am right now, because the trouble right now is that there's a little skein of snow over things, which can hide really nasty slippery spots. So we're walking towards the dike here, the flood protection dike, with Wascana Creek on the other side of it. You'll see the creek once I climb these steps. I don't know if you can see the little bit of snow falling. You should be able to. You can see the sun is kind of shining, but it's snowing all the same. Temperature-wise, though, as I said, not bad. Minus 11 Celsius. Wind chill is minus 18, so wind chill is about 0 Fahrenheit. Which is cold, but not as cold as it has been. There's the creek, looking back towards Albert Street Bridge. walk along the dike here. Oh, there was a sign there that said they were going to build a really ugly building. And now it's gone, so I wonder if they've decided not to build, whoever they were. It's going to be, the picture made it look really ugly. Just a strange thing to put on your signboard, but that was certainly the way it looked to me. Haven't seen a dog yet, but I almost guarantee we will. Somebody walking a dog. We're heading to the footbridge up there. Uneven surface to walk on. Hasn't been cleared in any way. This is just the path that's been beaten down by people walking through the snow. Since we got our 6 inches or however much we got on the weekend. Is my guess. I haven't heard an official number. It was supposed to be 10, but I don't think we got 10. Okay, here's the footbridge we're headed to. First person we've seen on the walking path, but they don't have a dog, so far we'll just see how that goes. Cornwall Street here. We'll see if the footpath itself, the multi-use pathway, has been cleared a bit once we get to the other side of the footbridge here. Of course, halfway across we have to stop, look east along the creek. Let's come a little further to look west along the creek. Somebody's been down there. There's a few footsteps in the snow. They don't look like ski trails, so sometimes people cross-country ski down there, but I don't see that today. Now we'll see what the footbridge looks like. I mean, the footpath. Looks like it's been cleared. Yeah, certainly something has been along it at some point. Tells me to pick up the pace. We look at a bend in the river. They call it a creek. I think it's wide enough to be a river. It's wider than Souris River, or as wide as Souris River down in Weyburn, where I grew up. They call that a river, but this is just called Wascana Creek. I think of creeks as being narrower than that. The wind is a little sharp walking in this direction. I might pop up my hood without fastening it for just a little extra warmth. Oh, hello. Trying to read it. Yeah, it'll all melt soon. It'll all melt soon. but it isn't today. Goes up above freezing starting this weekend, and looks like it stays there. So with any luck, by the time we get to actual first day of spring, it'll actually look like spring, or feel like spring. But we certainly got a major blast of winter here at the end of things, the end of the season. Considering we had hardly any snow in December, I suppose we had it coming. We had it coming. That's Waterfall Park, but no waterfall yet. We only had ourselves to blame. Little Chicago reference there. The musical, not the city. Well, I suppose the city too, but... Creek is always off to my right. On this part of the walk. Then we'll cross another bridge and it'll be to my left. Is our dog? Yes, there's our first dog. If I ever do one of these walks without seeing a dog, it'll be a red letter day. Baseball diamonds, not a lot of action there for a few more weeks. Again, another look at the creek through the bushes. Easier to see it this time of the year with no leaves on the trees. Give it 6 weeks, maybe a little longer, and there'll be people on these diamonds. Certainly in 2 months, I would think, which will be mid-May, coming up to the long weekend. Coming up to the production of Beauty and the Beast that I'm in, playing Maurice, the father of Belle. Not to happen between now and then, though. Not just rehearsal-wise, but in April I go to Lethbridge one weekend. Maybe I'll do a walk while I'm there. And I go up to Saskatoon for Sask Expo, where I always have a big book table. We did see somebody with a dog, but there aren't a lot of pedestrians on the path at the moment, that's for sure. As the snow continues to lightly fall. Next Next landmark along here is the horseshoe pitch. Coming up to Elphinstone Street. There's the horseshoe pitch. Not a lot of horseshoeing going on either. Then I've never seen anybody actually using it while I've walked. I think I've seen once driving by. That's about it. But there is a horseshoe club. Sometimes I think I'm getting old enough to join it. Always seems like something old people play. For my youth, I associate horseshoes with what my uncles and people like that were playing in Missouri when we visited relatives down there. That's where I saw them playing horseshoes. Of course, all those guys were probably younger than I am now, but they seemed really old to me at the time. Oh, here comes a jogger. Another entry in the bingo card. A couple of kids over there struggling through the snow. School out? Should be, yeah. Sheldon Williams Collegiate High School. It's just over that way, past those houses. So you often see kids going to or from school, depending on what time you go by here. Can't really see Sheldon Williams from here, but it's right over that way. Hi, Jeff. Good morning. Not here, it's not good morning, but West Bengal, India would do it for sure. I'd be very surprised if there was snow in Bengal, West Bengal. Of course, India has very high mountains. They get plenty of snow. We were just watching a show on Prime with the James May English presenter, as they call them. He does travelogues. And his most recent one was Our Man in India. It's only 3 episodes, which I thought wasn't very many episodes to cover India. They didn't really try to cover India. They went from coast to coast. That's basically the idea. It was very interesting. All the same. Heading to this other footbridge up here. Pedestrian and bicycle crossing. There's the creek. That's the Neil Balkwell Civic Arts Center over there. I don't know if we'll walk by it. Depends on which way I come back once I turn the corner up at Pasco Street. I'll probably go by it if I follow my most typical path for these walks. Oh, there's dog number 2. And owner. So let's stop here and take another look at the creek once we're halfway across. Okay, looking east along Wascana Creek. And looking west, again, there's a few footsteps down there. People have walked out on the ice in the deep snow. It'd be difficult walking. So I don't know why you would. Nope. Some lonely glove somebody misplaced, waiting for them to remember where they left it, I guess. Why would you take your glove off there and somehow lose it? Probably fell out of somebody's pocket and somebody picked it up and put it on the railing to make it more visible. This is Les Sherman Park, but for some reason people have taken it upon themselves to scrape off some of the letters. I don't quite know why you would do that. Many things certain people do that I don't understand. This side is still clear. Les Sherman Park. That's a turtle. That little thing of color there under the snow. Not a real turtle, obviously. Dogs love the snow for the most part, depending, I suppose, on the breed and the amount of fur they have. I saw this enormous white fluffy dog. Was that yesterday? Just huge. I don't know what breed he was, but he was enormous and covered in thick white fur, and he just looked like he was made for the snow. Technically, our cat is made for cold weather. Siberians are a self-bred breed, so they have cold water adaptations, cold weather, particularly thick coats and fur between their toes and broad feet. And they're pretty big cats, but not compared to a dog. But they're about ours is about 14 pounds, but they can be as much as 20. They're not Maine Coon size, which can be 25, but they're still bigger than your average cat, boo-boo. And of course, Chautauqua is the namesake of Chautauqua Press that I was talking about earlier, my publishing company. And his pictures on every book, he's also the logo. But he's no help at all. Doesn't do a thing. In fact, sometimes he gets on my lap and interferes with my work. These curves are just for aesthetic reasons. Forward to walking through here when it's all green. But first we have to go through the period of time when there's big puddles everywhere that you sometimes have trouble getting around. Another pointless curve. Creek's over there. We'll be back beside it in a minute. They're going that way, so I won't be catching up to them. They cross paths again, depending on what they do when they get to Pasco Street. And I'm taking the path back to the creek side here for a little bit more, and then it'll be up and away from it. a dog way over on the other side of the creek. They're not quite yet in use baseball diamond. Right along here, you quite often get quite a bit of water when the melt happens. Once the creek opens up, the ice melts. There's a low point up here that usually the water flows out into the park. Not too much, but annoying if you're walking. There's a rabbit. It's a rare walk where you don't see one of those. He's not too concerned about me. Right here, I think it's the lowest point. You can actually walk out on the ice, but I don't want to wade through the snow, so I won't do it. I did it earlier this winter. Okay, we will abandon the path up here rather than go under the bridge, because it wouldn't be a good way to get off the path without wading through snow for a while if I went that way, probably. So we'll go up here to Pasqua Street, and this is kind of our turnaround spot. More or less the halfway point of this particular walk. Uphill and snow covered. Always particularly tiring. So the creek carries on over there. That's the Louvain over there with all the traffic on it, Louvain Expressway. This is Pasqua Street. There's the park. We'll go up here and turn right, and then we'll be headed home. Sask Express, that old school over there, now a performing arts company and school. Also, their gym is a theater now. It used to be the gym. Still looks like a gym, but it works as a theater for small-scale productions anyway. The artistic director is Danny Balkwell, who had a professional career, was in Mamma Mia touring production and things like that, but came back. But I knew him as a kid. The very first show I did with the John DeVere Light Opera at the time, the same company that's doing Beauty and the Beast that I'm in. First production I was in was The Music Man, and he played the kid, the teenage boy. I can't remember the character's name. Main character. You rotten kid, ya? That's when I met him. He's gotten quite a bit older, unlike me, who hasn't aged a bit. I don't know how that happened. Okay, we will turn east. Now we are on the homeward stretch of the walk. Another baseball diamond. Softball, really soft pitch. You wouldn't play hardball there. I guess you could with all that space out there, but I believe it's intended for soft pitch, softball, slow pitch softball. That's a pretty new house. Watched it being built on these walks. Big house too. Big 2-car garage, big deck up on top of the garage. nice view out this way over the park, which I'm sure is why they decided to face it onto this street. The old house faced onto the side street. Yeah, big one. 4042. Easy to remember the address. 4040 15th Avenue. That's probably a dog walker whose car is parked there. I don't know why else she would be in the park. Dog walking or live streaming seems to be the only two options. They have an enclosed deck, I guess you'd call it, on the back of their house. An all year round deck. Maybe you'd call it a patio, depending on where in the world you're from originally, I guess, or veranda. Okay, as I know from way back when I jogged this is the point at which you start going downhill. It's all downhill from here. You don't notice it as much walking, but I sure noticed it when I was jogging. Not a lot of people watching live today. Different time than I normally walk. But most of the viewers of this watch recordings. So if you just heard me saying that, you're probably watching the recording anyway. So thanks for doing that. I post these on Rumble now too. They don't get a lot of views there, but they get a few. And I post my podcast, of which there was a new episode on Sunday, as I'm sure I've already mentioned, featuring Danielle Cebulski, who's a noted medievalist, talking about her latest book, Chivalry and Courtesy, Medieval Manners for a Modern World. Very interesting discussion. Lost cat. Oh, I hate seeing pictures like that. That's why our cat never goes outside. Can't bear the thought of letting him out and him not coming back in. It's dangerous out here for a cat. Traffic, dogs, other cats. Hello, Yvonne. Shadowpaw. That's why the publishing company is called Shadowpaw Press. That's his name and his pictures on every book. He's 11, going on 12, so middle-aged. Black Siberian. Well, I don't know. Do I want to go down that way? Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just go up 15th today. I don't know why. I just don't feel the need to walk by the Neil Balkwell today. I pointed it out earlier anyway. But it would be that way if you're going to go to it. Argyle Street. There's a house that stands out in the snow. Bright orange, very bold color choice. A fairly brisk walk despite the snow-covered sidewalks. So I'm getting warm. Not too out of breath, but I do notice that I'm working harder than some walks. I think as long as I can still talk, I'm not doing too bad, breath-wise. My legs are getting tired, though. Anytime you're walking on just beaten down snow, it's tiring. And as I have said before, I think it's because you're constantly catching yourselves. You're using more muscles than you do in a normal walk. Okay. Now, as I also know from jogging, if you want a really nice downhill, it starts right here. Very noticeably downhill as you head to the creek. It was always a joy to turn this way when I was jogging. And should be somewhat even now. You can take my hat off, except I'm pretty sure as soon as I do, my ears will start to get cold. I wonder if they restrict parking here after 3:30. Yeah, they do. That's for, or maybe it's just mornings along there. Oh, it's only in the morning. They don't do it in the evening. That's for buses. I'm surprised they don't do it in the evening. They do on Albert Street. This here is College Avenue. That one coming up too. We'll cross here at the stop sign. And it's just a hop, skip, and a jump, and hopefully not a slide and a fall. Back to Angus Crescent and home. Okay. 39 minutes. It feels longer. Again, it's because I'm walking fairly briskly and the footing is somewhat uncertain. I think with the wind behind me, I'll risk taking off my hat for a little bit. Cool off. At one time there was, or was intended to be, I don't know exactly, a railroad track on that side of the street. And there was, where the Royal Saskatchewan Museum is now, they actually started to build a big railway hotel. And then the economy went bust, and it was never completed. There's a house down along the creek. I guess I walked by it, actually, didn't point it out, that used some of the building materials from that failed hotel. Yeah, I believe there was a railroad that ran on the north side of what's now College, a spur line. I believe that's true. I'd have to look at my own book. Historic Walks of Regina and Moose Jaw. Been a long time since I wrote that. I don't remember everything that's in it. Just bits and pieces. Next block is Leopold Crescent. The block after that is Angus Crescent. And then again, it's all downhill from there. As you can see, it slopes down quite a bit toward the creek from up here. Still snowing a little bit. Has been most of this walk. See? Again, it slopes way down that direction. Leopold Crescent begins here, and so does Garnet Street. Or it doesn't begin here. Garnet Street continues. They just run together for a little ways, and then the crescent curves off to the left, where Garnet keeps going down there to where I used to live when I first moved to this neighborhood. On the last block before the toboggan bowl, flood control bowl. That's where people toboggan. So we lived down there from about 92 to 97, something like that. And then got married. We moved to the condo where I've pointed out a few times over on Scarth Street. And then switched places with my mother-in-law about 17 years ago now. And we've lived in the house that belonged to my wife's parents and grandparents since 1939. That's where I live. That's probably where I'll die. Or at least be living when I die, if that's not a contradiction in terms. Major work going on over there. Supposed to be work going on in our back, on our extension that we were trying to build and have been for 2 years now. That should start up pretty soon again. And we'll get it done this year. Finally. We lost months because of the city being difficult about the building permit, and our engineering firm somehow unable to do what they needed to do. It was very, very annoying and cost us months, well, basically a year of construction. And more, really, because it put the contractor out of sync from the time he had set aside for us. He went on to other things, and then they took priority while we were waiting. So it's been a very frustrating experience, but it's supposed to get done in the next few months. It's all roughed in. Electricity and plumbing and all that has to go. Then there'll be cabinet making. And our deck got built in the first year, which was nice, but it's not finished. It needs a railing and steps. It doesn't have any steps. So some things have been done for sure, but we've still got a long ways to go. we'll stop up here at the next corner. So almost done. So we walk down English Crescent here. Oof! Past the house that belonged to Tommy Douglas. He was premier of the province back in the late 40s and into the 50s. Met him once in Weyburn when I was a newspaper reporter. He was voted the greatest Canadian at one point, which, yeah, well, he certainly had good points. He had some not so good points too, like everybody else. That's a very interesting house. It doesn't look like much from the front, but inside it's this big open area, like 3 stories from top to bottom. Designed by an architect for his own house, as many very interesting houses are. Our house was designed by a major architect of the day in Regina, but he never lived in it. If he had, he probably would have fixed a couple of things he kind of didn't think about when he designed it, that I would have a word or two with him about. Okay. This is our quitting point, and I'm glad of it, I must admit. I walked much more briskly than I do on my walks downtown. Okay, that's it. Thank you for walking with me. I will not be walking tomorrow, I'm pretty sure. But hopefully on Friday I will be back. Bye for now. Oh, and subscribe if you haven't. Goodbye.